What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad, Sean, and today reactions to the classics. We are wrapping up the 80s as we are up to 1989 in our top 5 albums by year draft. Been a fun exercise going through this. We started in 1965, and yeah, already up to 89, man.
Crazy.
A lot of great records that we've discovered in this process, man. In 89, pretty stacked year,
Pretty
man.
stacked.
So this is going to be a fun one. For all the people that don't know, how does the drafting process work?
Well, we alternate every single year with first pick. This year I got first pick, you got 2, 3, I got 4, 5. I always say this. It kind of matters strategically. On a weak year, you want the first pick. On a strong year, you don't necessarily want the first pick because 2, 3 is going to be really strong. You get the next 2 in there. We need your help, though. At the end, we need to know who you think won. We also need, well, we don't need to know, but we'd like to know your top albums. And Trey, I always say this, but you know, I graduated from high school in 1989, so I'm very familiar with the music of this era, but not familiar with a lot of the stuff that I ended up picking in the 80s because I'm just getting mainstream top 40 radio. And so I've discovered so many good things through the years. And that's going to take me to my number 1 album. It was so close. I just told you off camera before we started. I don't know if I made the right choice for number 1 because what you picked as number 1, I was right there and I went back and forth. I think I did. This is an album we discovered, I don't know, probably a year and a half ago. A patron brought it. The Stone Roses debut.
Love it, man.
Sold over 4 million copies. Not successful at first. These guys had to grind it out. Concerts, they got a little bit of coverage from Enemy and Melody Maker. That helped them, but they had to grind it out. Now considered as one of the best, greatest albums, British albums of all time. I Want to Be Adored, I Am the Resurrection, has that almost 4-minute instrumental outro. Squire's guitar work is unreal.
Dude, he's one of my favorite guitarists, man. He
Ian
really
Brown on the vocals. I mean, this is one of the best albums of all time and was on my top 50 list of all-time albums.
No, man. I mean, I can't just go against anything you said right there. I love this record, too. I mean, the fact it starts with I Want to Be Adored, man.
Yeah.
You just have that
You're in for it.
Intro there, and just, yet again, the guitar tones that Squire sets forth, the, just full-on atmosphere is definitely one you want to listen to in high-quality headphones, man. And,
yes.
I can't complain with that pick right there. Well, now to my first pick, man, I gotta go Pixies Doolittle. You chose Surfer Rosa last year.
Okay, so your second pick was the one I was going. Okay.
Well, speaking of second, this is the Pixies' second record. Just a highly influential alternative rock classic that I think has aged so beautifully, and is really a signature for those quiet, loud dynamics that would influence grunge in particular and Nirvana in particular as well. On Nevermind, you can look at that. But this is 15 songs, 38 minutes. No song overstays its welcome, man. You're just hit with a flurry of great guitar work. Francis Black possibly screaming at you at times. Debaser, Tame, Hey, Julee, Monkey Gone to Heaven, Wave of Mutilation, Here Comes Your Man. I mean, so many of those are all just alt-rock classics right there, man. And they're all on the same record. Great album, deserving of its acclaim, man.
Yeah, I really enjoy this album, although I'm in the minority. I said it on last year. I think Surfer Rosa is better, but I'm in the minority here. And Trey, go ahead and take this album from me, which I would have loved to have had.
Dude, one of the groups that's popped up a decent amount in our 80s list, man, but I think this is their masterpiece.
Oh, no question.
Their 8th record, We Have the Cure's Disintegration right here. Robert Smith's drug use actually heavily influenced the record. He was taking a lot of psychedelics and whatnot at the time, and he, as they were getting into more pop in that late 80s period, he was like, let's throw it back to our roots, kind of go back to that gothic rock sound. Love Song peaked at number 2 on the album itself, went to 12 here in the States. One of the great kind of atmospheric records that mixes, you have those romantic songs like Love Song, but then you also have more long, drawn-out songs that are a bit more melancholic and sad in a sense. You have those dense textures on like Pictures of Youth, great bass lines on Fascination Street and the title track, and then you also have Lullaby, which I quite enjoy, in Plain Song. Some of the Cure's best tracks are on here as well, just kind of like Doolittle. Like some of the band's best work, it's all on this same record.
Yeah,
so.
Pictures of You for me is one of my favorite tracks.
Oh, yeah.
I like Love Song. It was just overplayed at that time when you were around at the time. But a fantastic pick. It was kind of my 1B. But now we're gonna go on to an album that I've done a full album reaction to, just like
I wanted this one too.
Just like Stone Roses. I'll link those, by the way, down below. You can check them out afterwards. Full Moon Fever, Tom Petty, debut solo album, went to 3 in the U.S. Had members of the Traveling Wilburys minus Bob Dylan on it during this time. Jeff Lynne co-writing most of the songs and appears on most of them. Free Falling, obviously his biggest solo hit, still stands up to time.
Oh, yeah.
I Won't Back Down, a fantastic song as well. Running Down a Dream, You're So Bad, 12 tracks, and they're all so good. And I remember you listened to this recently and you were raving about it.
Oh, yeah, man. I have it at like a 9 out of 10.
That's so good.
In most years, it would be, probably my one pick. It's just so loaded this year. So, man, great picks right there. What you got for your third?
I got Mr. Lou Reed in the classic New York, his 15th studio album. Rolling Stone ranked as the 19th best album of the 80s. I don't think it's quite that good, but it is really good. Q-List is the 26th best album of the 80s, so a lot of acclaim. He said he wanted simple music and instrumentation, so it didn't take away from the lyrics. He also said it's meant to be viewed kind of like a movie. 14 songs, one listen. Dirty Boulevard's the standout. But there's a lot of great songs. There's a few misses on here, but it's 14 songs.
Yeah.
So I just kind of overlooked that. But you got to really listen, man, because as he said, the lyrics, not that they don't on Lou's songs, the lyrics are really important here. It's kind of his ode to New York. What do you think of this one?
No, I quite enjoyed it too. And that New York kind of state of mind concept that we had going forth on it, man. Lou has, just one of those deliveries and voices that I know is a bit polarizing to some. Some people can't get behind it. Yeah. And if you can't, this probably won't change you, but I do love his lyricism, and New York's no different.
Would this have made your list? I'm just curious.
It would have been in the running. It would have been in the
curious.
running. Yeah, for sure. But it would not have beat out my next one.
I don't even know who this is.
We got Julee Cruz, Floating Into the Night debut. The great director David Lynch featured many of the songs in his 90s movies and work, man. I do love me some dream pop and When the Mood Strikes.
I do too, so I might have liked this.
That ambient work, man. Best played at night for sure. It has that nocturnal feel. You can even kind of tell that on the cover.
What if you work graveyard shift? Could you play it in the morning when you come home?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay,
Yeah, it might work for you.
Not trying to derail you.
It had 40 songs written, but only 10 made the cut here. Floating and then the track Falling are going to be the highlights for me and kind of a primer for what the rest of the album sounds like. But Dream Pop's kind of a peak was in this late 80s, 90s period, man, and I definitely dig that type of sound.
Now your next pick's going to get you a lot of votes too.
Oh yeah, man. One of my favorite 80s groups that I've discovered going through here. We got New Order's Technique, their 5th album, first to hit number 1 in the UK, actually. Keeps kind of that dance rock sound that they had throughout the 80s, but also is starting to mix in some heavier kind of acid house type of music, influenced by the Ibiza. I'm probably butchering that.
Close enough.
They essentially were on an island off of Spain, and whenever they were first recording this record, and so they were hearing a lot of that club music there, and that influenced this record. Very groovy, has those catchy beats and rhythms you can't help but move to. Shout out to Round and Round and Run and Dream Attack. Those are the highlights for me right there.
I know Round and Round from Rat, but I don't know it. I don't know it from New Order. All right, my next pick. A band that I just have really grown to like, On Fire from Galaxy 500, second studio album, Pitchfork number 16 on the best albums of the 80s. So consistent. Even has a George Harrison cover close.
I do like that cover.
Isn't it a pity? I thought it was really well done. Dream Pop in there, no weak songs. Shout out once again to our patron Slade Said, who had these guys on a list that I discovered them through, and they appeared on a previous list for me as well. And I'll just kind of leave it there because my last pick, also shout out to Slade Said.
That's right.
I did a top 10 of this group. We got King's X. Gretchen Goes to Nebraska.
Hey, shout out to your
home state. I've never met a Gretchen in Nebraska, but I'm sure there's many. Second studio album, concept album, based on a short story by Jerry Gaskell, their drummer. It's considered one of the best works of them and a seminal record within the progressive metal genre, which I'm usually not a progressive metal guy if you watch this channel. Covers various styles. There's a lot of different stuff in there. You got some elements of gospel, psychedelia. Over My Head and Summerland are very strong, but a very solid album start to finish. It takes my 5th spot because I thought 89 was a really good trade, but I thought it was definitely top heavy with 6 or 7 albums. And then it was kind of like there's a lot of albums we're like
could have
3.5s out of
Yeah.
5s, and so that's kind of how we end up here.
Well, man, I still got to get into some King's X, man. I remember you telling how good that top 10, and I just I didn't get around to listening to it.
Well,
but if it made your list, man, I got to make some time for it. So, and now I'm gonna finish with maybe a bit of a left field pick.
Another group I don't know. I don't know 2 of your 5 albums. That never happens.
But you know me, man. Gotta ref for the punk heads out there. We're going No Means No with the record Wrong. 4th album by a Canadian. You don't hear a lot of Canadian punk groups.
You don't.
But No Means No is out here. I think it's a post-hardcore masterpiece. Some of the best bass and drum work I think you're gonna hear, regardless of genre. Even if you're not down with the vocals or whatever, I think that you'll enjoy it. And definitely a bit almost jazz influenced as well. So that rhythm section is just so prominent, man. High octane energy, demands your attention. My favorite is the opener. It's catching up, gets you kind of moshing in there. They also have some longer songs in there that let those grooves really ride out, man. So love the technical chops of this group, man. Got to check more of them out. But
you sold me then. I got to listen to this, man.
Yeah, it's not on Spotify, only on YouTube, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, the growing trend at the time of this filming is some stuff not on Spotify. Now we get to our honorable mentions. My last cut is what's going to be right here. The Seeds of Love, Tears for Fears. For a while, I thought this was going to make my list, but as the album went on, the album's a bit long.
Yeah.
It just got some great songs on it, but it drags on a bit. We also have Dylan's Oh Mercy, which is just a fantastic album.
That's right. Got to rep my gal, Kate Bush, The Sensual World. That was a tough cut. Shout out to this woman's work. Again, some early hip-hop that had some great beats. Jungle Brothers, Done by the Forces of Nature. De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising. We have a couple titans of here in America, at least.
I love one of them. One of them I don't.
We got Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation 1814, which, man, just look at the Wikipedia on that. One of the more successful albums of all time, man. I like it a little bit better than Control. Madonna's Like a Prayer just kind of caps off her really strong 80s decade.
Excellent title track.
We got 9 Inch Nails' Pretty Hate Machine, and then Nirvana's Bleach, their first album.
I bet that won't be the last time they appear on this list.
I would say you're probably right about that one, man. So that kind of closes us out here, and I guess closes out our 80s decade, Dad. Man, it's been fun to really kind of travel through the various genres and you know, just how much the sound changed from 1980. Here we are in 1989, mentioning, you know, so many different types of countries and all that stuff.
And I think that's a fantastic segue to just kind of the fact that music is about to change big time for those of us that live through it. I mean, music is ever changing, but a huge shift is about to happen as we jump into the 90s, guys. But before we finish out the 80s, we need your help. Tell us who you think won below. Let us know some of your favorites. Let us know the outrage over whatever didn't make it that should have. We get it. We understand you love your music. And if you'd like to support us in any way, help keep this thing going, check out our Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the end screen. It allows us to do videos like this and stuff outside of just patron requests.
No, definitely, man. And you can also vote in polls over on Patreon. One of these records will be up for a listening party, so be sure to go and check that out. But I guess, Dad, that'll wrap it up from here today. Next week.
See you later, 80s.
Yeah, next week, man, we bring on my birth decade. We get to the 90s, baby. It should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to that. But until next time, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Happy listening, and we will see you.